Hello and welcome back. This is going to be another video of things that annoy me. And lately there's been quite a few of them. So let's get straight into the news of how AI is hacking businesses or committing blackmail or some of the other things I have read in various publications. Starting with, The Guardian, Bloomberg, BBC, ABC News, of countless AI models either hacking another business or committing blackmail or some other kind of heinous crime. I have been writing these things for 30 some odd years. I've been a programmer since 1980, and I have never once in my entire programming career have ever written a program that wanted to commit some kind of atrocity or harm another human being. And I have built programs with some very specific purposes. And those purposes are deliberate. And I want to get into that. So let's start with a little bit of history in terms of what I've done in my own programming career. For example, my work in AI, or what we now call AI specifically, started with human emotional analogs. These are programs that are expressly and deliberately designed to act human. They work in a medical setting, usually a therapeutic setting, dealing with grief counseling, trauma, abuse, things of that nature where a patient talks to these machines. And then the machine will turn what is given to the patient into questions. Now, throughout the entire process, these human emotional analogs are always under the oversight of a therapist or a clinician, and the conversations are always available to the therapist and clinician. But the main goal of these programs are to be there when a therapist or clinician may not be able to be, such as 2 a.m. or some other kind of odd time that the patient needs to talk or needs to express themselves in a way that helps steer them away from self-harm or some other kind of severe situation. So the human emotional analogs are a very important part of this clinical case study. And they are expressly and deliberately designed in a way to help the patient communicate. Now, this is very different from the AI companion market that has become a plague on Google Play and iOS and all the rest of it. A human emotional analog does not monetize parasocial connection. And that's a whole different conversation that I've talked about before, but that whole market is wrong. It's destructive all the way around. No, the human emotional analog is strictly a therapeutic tool. And with the proper oversight of a clinician or a therapist, it is a very powerful tool that can really help people through very difficult parts of their lives. I have written these programs, and they are quite extensive and very detailed. But even as detailed as these programs are, they've never once gotten out of control or decided to blackmail somebody or wanted to go hack a business or create any other hideous form of a crime. Never. So from the standpoint of any time I read these headlines of an AI blackmailing someone or an AI trying to hack a business, that tells me more about the people that wrote the program than about the business. Or I should say about the program itself. Because any business that hires that kind of a program, I have questions about from the get-go. If your programmer is teaching a program how to commit a crime, that's a problem. No sane human being goes out of their way to teach a program how to commit a crime. unless they are pathological in nature, in which case you probably don't want them working for your business. If you have a program that has been designed to blackmail someone, that's not the program's fault. That's the person running the program. Let's get this very straight. A program, for the most part, always starts out as a box. It's empty. Nothing in it. Basically, a box, like this. And that's the whole thing. It doesn't write itself. It doesn't train itself. It doesn't go out and do anything because it doesn't exist. The programmer opens a text editor or an interactive development environment or something and begins to put the pieces together to build this program. And that includes the training data, the process by which this stochastic predictor is going to begin forming its mathematical computations. All of that process is the stage of the programmer or team or group, but all of it are human beings. And the program itself is nothing more than a paperweight until it's given the instructions necessary to do something. And that is where the problem comes in when I read these headlines. Anytime any headline says a program did something, it's not about the program. It's about the person that wrote the program. It's about the company that hired these people that thought this was a good idea to program a program to blackmail somebody or to write a program to blackmail somebody. Any business that has that kind of employee has a problem and should not be given any money. You should not have pathological lunatics working for you that openly go out and try to blackmail somebody or whatever other egregious crime they choose to commit hiding behind software. No, don't accept that. So when Anthropic or OpenAI or Meta or Frontier AI or God knows who now comes up with our program decided to go hack another company, that's because they told it, they programmed it, they wrote it to deliberately do that. The program didn't do it on its own, they did it. And that says more about the evil of that company than anything that program could ever do on its own because of what they actually put in the program. So when we get to the reality of what this really is about, it's irresponsible from the very basic level of human decency. It's unconscionable. It's disgusting, really. Up front, plain and simple, it's disgusting to celebrate a program being written that does malicious crimes. And for them to openly use it as a marketing hype of how powerful their model is. I wouldn't use a model like that they've told how to go out and commit harm. Because that's not what my own work is about. That's not what anybody's work should be about. Even when I spent time in cybersecurity and I wrote adaptive firewalls that could learn and track how to see intruders trying to get into the system, it didn't go out and hurt anyone. It protected the system I built it for. So we need to put aside this kind of crap of programs going out and hacking businesses or committing blackmail or heaven knows what. Because as soon as that comes out, quite frankly, they need to go lock the programmer up, find out what kind of psychosis he has, and find out if he needs some kind of mental treatment. Because that should not be something to advertise or celebrate. Committing violence through software is no different than committing violence with a gun, a knife, or a steel pipe. It's not acceptable. Programmers should know better. Even if they vibe coded something through an AI, they shouldn't be going out of their way to commit crimes with what they are writing. And for them to actively and deliberately write a language model capable of blackmail or of hacking is egregious. Now, Anthropic, OpenAI, these are not open source models. They can't blame somebody hacking their repository and modifying their code. This is the kind of stuff they've done to the code themselves from the inside, which makes it worse because it clearly shows intent from the company and that the company openly supports this kind of bad behavior and malicious intent. It is wrong. Under no circumstances should any programmer write a program that is maliciously and deliberately destructive or harmful in any way. It's not right. Now, I'm going to exclude specifically military programming because that's a whole different headache, and thankfully I've never done that. Most of my career has been in hospitals, banking, things of that nature. I've done some cybersecurity work, but mostly everything revolved around databases or human emotional analogs. So I've been fortunate in terms of my own career choices and what opportunities I've had within what I've done. But still, from a commercial perspective of a regular business, anytime I read that kind of headline, it's a company I don't want to use. It's a company that tells me they have pathological lunatics in their business. It's a company that tells me that they have gone out of their way to hire the worst people they could find with the most destructive tendencies they could actually harbor. And that is more disturbing than anything the program itself could ever do. Anyway, share your thoughts. Let me know what you think about this whole AI hacking nonsense. Thank you for watching.